And now it begins. No, now it ends. Arthur Dayne in the Dreams of Eddard Stark, A Game of Thrones, Chapter 39, Eddard 10. One of the key triggers for Robert's rebellion, and thus the downfall of House Targaryen, was the moment Prince Rhaegar kidnapped Lyanna Stark near Harrenhal. There are many different rumours as to why Rhaegar chose this path. Some say he'd fallen madly in love with Lyanna at the tourney of Harrenhal, or some also argue the young Stark girl had too fallen for the prince and went willingly with Rhaegar, rather than being kidnapped. Within the context of history, we can never know the truth of the matter, but what is important is the outcome. Rhaegar disappeared with Lyanna Stark and started a bloody civil war. For most of the rebellion, Prince Rhaegar was nowhere to be seen. He fought no battles and communicated no plans, leaving his father, King Aerys II, scrambling to find his son. Rhaegar was eventually found by Sir Gerald Hightower, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, at a place known as the Tower of Joy, with Lyanna Stark and 2 more Kingsguard knights, the legendary Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning, and Sir Oswell Went. Rhaegar did leave the tower and returned to King's Landing to lead his father's army at the Battle of the Trident, and to his death at the hands of Robert Baratheon. One curious element to this is Rhaegar returned alone. Lyanna was left at the tower, but even more puzzling, Dayne and Went, as well as the Lord Commander, Gerald Hightower, remained at the Tower of Joy with Lyanna, which has always been a puzzling mystery, given the Kingsguard would have proven useful at the Trident, especially when their sole purpose is to guard and protect the royal family. Thus, perhaps Rhaegar gave them a direct order to remain with Lyanna. As to why they agreed to, we shall never know. It is said that Rhaegar had named the place the Tower of Joy, but for Ned, it was a bitter memory. The Thoughts of Eddard Stark, Game of Thrones Chapter 39, Eddard 10. The location of Rhaegar's hiding place is puzzling as well. The Tower of Joy was nothing but a basic round tower in the northern edge of the Red Mountains of Dorne, located at the north end of the Prince's Pass, with Kingsgrave to the south and Night Song to the north. While Rhaegar was married to Elia Martell, the Prince of Dorne's sister, it was assumed that Rhaegar had angered the Dornish greatly when he abandoned his wife and children and kidnapped the Stark girl. Many saw this action as a deep insult towards his wife, and thus Dorne, Elia and his children. Yet Rhaegar chose to hide away for months in Dorne itself. Some suggest this hiding place may have been Arthur Dayne's idea, given the Kingsguard Knight was Dornish and from the relatively close castle of Starfall to the south. The tower was basic and isolated, and how Gerald Hightower found its location is lost to history, for reasons that will soon become very clear. After lifting the siege at Storm's End, Lord Eddard Stark rode further south with 6 companions: Howland Reed, Lord Willem Dustin, Ethan Glover, Martin Cassell, Theo Wool, and Sir Mark Risewell, leaving the Stark army at Storm's End. Why Eddard took such a small number to look for his sister has often been explained by his desire to move quickly, something you cannot do with a large army. When the rebels took King's Landing, there were some who assumed that Lyanna Stark may have been located there, given Prince Rhaegar had returned from hiding. But evidently, she was not, and is perhaps another reason why Eddard Stark was more than happy to be charged with lifting of the Tyrell siege of Storm's End, giving him ample opportunity to look for his sister. Again, how Eddard found the tower and knew where to even start looking is again another element surrounding these events that we will never know the answer to. Eddard Stark and his band of followers did travel to the Red Mountains of Dorne and find the location of this Tower of Joy, and thus Lyanna Stark, but it was sadly too late. The exact true series of events that happened at the Tower of Joy is not known to us, given out of the 11 people there, only 2 would walk away with their lives, but the little we do know seems to indicate the following. that as Eddard Stark and his band approached the tower to recover Eddard's sister, they found it protected by Gerald, Arthur and Oswell of the Kingsguard. A short and bloody fight ensued, the 7 Northmen versus the 3 Kingsguard. We do not know the details of this apparent legendary battle, but all we can say for a fact is only Eddard Stark and Howland Reed were left standing. Eddard did find his sister in the tower, but they were too late. Lyanna Stark was dead, or at the very least, dying. The circumstances of her death and what caused it are unknown to us, but like many of the events surrounding the Tower of Joy, it's filled with suspicion and mystery that not all is as it seems. We do have one clue that could give us some details regarding the fate of Lyanna before leaving the tower behind. Eddard and Howland pulled stones from it to make 8 urns for the 8 men who had died fighting that day. Even though Eddard is known as a man of honour, it would be a strange choice for him to have given his foe in Dane, Went and Hightower proper burials and treated with respect and honour if the Kingsguard Knights had personally been responsible for the death of Lyanna, which indicates to us she had not been killed by an act of foul play. The finest knight I ever saw was Sir Arthur Dane, who fought with a blade called Dawn, forged from the heart of a fallen star. They called him the Sword of the Morning, and he would have killed me but for Howland Reed, Eddard Stark to Bran Stark. Rather than make the obvious choice of now returning home to Winterfell with his sister's body, Eddard Stark made one more unexpected move. He looked south and not north, with the 2 survivors of the Tower of Joy travelling to the seat of House Dane, Starfall. It seems ever the honourable man, Eddard Stark travelled all that way to return the legendary ancestral sword of House Dane and inform the Danes of Sir Arthur's death. Some have also rightly pointed out the possibility that Eddard also travelled to Starfall to not only return the blade, but perhaps visit his once rumoured lover, Ashara Dane. While the relationship between the two had always been that, rumours, it does add a layer of complexity to her eventual fate. Sometime after Eddard had left Starfall, Ashara Dane threw herself from the tallest towers of Starfall into the sunset sea below. Several reasons have been cited as to why Ashara chose to commit suicide. A broken heart, because of her stillborn daughter, because of a stolen child, for the man who had dishonoured her at Harrenhal, or due to the grief over her brother's death. Her body was never found. At Winterfell, over the next few years, rumours would spread among the soldiers of Eddard Stark of the tale that Ashara Dane was in fact Eddard's bastard son Jon Snow's mother. When Eddard's wife, Lady Catelyn, heard these stories from her maid, it is reported she did confront Eddard, who refused to confirm or deny anything regarding the matter, and subsequently silenced all talk of Ashara at Winterfell. Her name was never mentioned at the castle again. Some scholars of history have suggested this information points towards Eddard being the man who apparently dishonoured Ashara at Harrenhal with her stolen child, really being Jon Snow. However, there is very little proof other than speculation regarding these tales, and like so much surrounding the Tower of Joy, they will forever remain a mystery. It is likely the boy's mother is another woman altogether. While Eddard had been upset with King Robert Baratheon after the sack of King's Landing, the death of his sister Lyanna Stark, who Robert deeply loved, reconciled the old friends. Eddard returned Lyanna's remains to the north, so she could be buried beside her brother Brandon and her father Lord Rickard. While traditionally only lords or kings are honoured with statues in the crypts of Winterfell, Ned commissioned statues for both his brother and his sister as exceptions.